Welcome to another episode of Equity Mates. Monday, a new week ahead. My name is Bryce, and as always, I'm joined by my equity mate, Alec. How are you going?
I'm good, Bryce. I'm good. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, yes.
Good weekend for some. Sydney Swans got the win.
Yes.
Apparently, the Suez Canal is unblocked.
The boat is...
you told me that earlier. Unconfirmed.
The boat is free,
Yeah.
but I think it's by no means free passage for everyone at the moment.
Right.
Yeah.
Bad weekend for others. Your Essendon Bombers lost
Bad
again.
weekend for the Bombers.
Unfortunately, Brisbane is in lockdown, and shout out to our producer Elliot, who is unfortunately stuck up there. Thinking of you. But we're not here to talk about who had a good weekend and who had a bad weekend.
No. We are, and we're not here to talk about equities either, which is surprising given we are equity mates.
On AusBiz.
On AusBiz. But look, it is crypto week for equity mates this week. We've got a number of shows across the podcast that are focusing on blockchain and cryptocurrency because there's no doubt, Ren, that it is a hot topic and a part of the, I guess, technology sector that's moving very quickly.
It's a hot topic. We get a lot of requests to talk about crypto, but we didn't want to, make another show about it or spend more time on the podcast or in front of camera. So we figured let's do a week on the podcast, 4 episodes, cover it, and then move on.
Yeah.
On AusBiz, we're only going to be doing 1 episode. So if you're not a fan of crypto, if you're sick of hearing about crypto, it's just today. And we want to do something a little bit different on this episode.
That is right.
It feels like every corner of the internet, any crypto content, they only talk about one thing: the price.
The price.
So we're going to do an episode today where we forget the price. We're not going to talk about the price. And instead what we're going to do is actually talk about some of the use cases that are starting to emerge or theoretically may emerge. I think that for me, that's a more interesting conversation than speculating on what the price will be.
I love the price chat.
You do love the price chat.
Yeah, look, no price chat today. I know we have said that for my bold prediction, Bitcoin's going to go above 90,000 or whatever it may be. That is the only time we're going to mention price in this.
Well, you've already ruined it.
Today we're going to be going through the use cases for Bitcoin, for Ethereum, for Golem, SIA, and then basic attention. Token.
Yeah.
So 3 that you may not have heard of, and I'm sure you've heard of Ethereum and Bitcoin as well. So let's get stuck in. But before we do, it's worth sort of taking a bigger picture approach to this and trying to understand where we are in terms of the evolution and adoption of blockchain and crypto, because then it kind of frames our conversation around the use cases for this and really helps put into perspective, I guess, how you might be thinking about the broader landscape and the 4,500 coins that are out there and what it's going to mean in 20 or 25 years.
Yeah, so there's a theory that was written about a while ago, but it's really stuck with me and has really helped me think about cryptocurrency. For people may be familiar with this author, may not be. Carlota Perez wrote a book, Technological Revolutions and Financial Capital, and wrote about the way that financial capital moves and the way that new technologies interact with financial capital and the bubbles that can be created. And basically, you can sort of split new technology into sort of 2 main periods. You've got the installation period, where there's a new technology. It's all these new use cases is trying to be figured out, I guess.
Yeah.
A financial bubble normally emerges, and then after the bubble pops, there's a deployment period after it. The best analogy is in the internet. In the late 90s, we saw an installation period of internet use cases where anyone and everyone could raise capital. There were a whole bunch of internet-based companies being created. Financial bubble was created. It popped. And then after we saw a sort of internet winter, and then we saw a lot of actual meaningful companies emerge out of that. And that was sort of the deployment phase. One way to think about crypto, I don't know if this is the right way, but one way to think about it is pre-2017, we saw the installation period where we saw a whole bunch of theoretical use cases emerge, a whole bunch of capital flow to the sector. There was a bubble. The bubble crashed. Bitcoin fell, 90% from top to bottom. We've lived through a couple of years of, I guess you could call it a crypto winter. And the question at the top of my mind when we talk about crypto is not, will Bitcoin crack $60,000 US?
No price, bro.
Oh. But are we seeing another bubble, or are we actually seeing a deployment phase where we're seeing real use cases start to emerge?
Good question. And I wonder, you spoke about a number of big companies emerging after the installation period. I wonder, since 2017, and I don't know the answer to this, but are there less or more cryptocurrency post 2017 compared to beforehand, or are we still seeing more and more crypto come to the market? And is that just driving a bigger installation period? I don't know.
Well, I think the question is not so much how many coins are there now, but how many will there be in 5 years?
Or how many survived the 2017 blow up?
Yeah.
So, so that kind of gives a bit of an idea to perhaps where we are in the crypto landscape at the moment, seeing a bit of a deployment phase.
Well, that's the question.
Yeah.
So we're gonna run through some of the coins and talk about what are their use cases. Are we seeing them emerge? So let's start with the main one. Let's start with Bitcoin. Do you want to kick it off? It's your favorite.
It is my favorite, Ren, thank you. For me, well, not for me, I mean, the use case for Bitcoin and their ambition was to create a better financial system to disrupt what we're seeing in the way that the finance world works at the moment. It's designed to be a peer-to-peer payments system, I guess, that really takes out the middleman in the financial world. So if I was to be sending money to Ren on the other side of the world, I don't need to be going through financial institutions who are taking fees and slowing down the process. Bitcoin allows for that to occur rather instantaneously with no fees. So I guess broadly speaking, they're trying to really disrupt that process and make the financial system a hell of a lot easier.
Yep.
And also remove the centralization of this whole thing.
Yeah, so let's answer the question. Are we seeing the use case start to emerge?
Use case for Bitcoin is a tick.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. There's no doubt that we're starting to, well, it is used around the world, particularly in, I would say, emerging countries and countries where there are currencies are a lot more volatile, and those sorts of countries are adopting this and using this. And we are now seeing as well a means of exchange through the likes of businesses now starting to adopt it as well. Slightly different, but I would say in terms of what it set out to achieve, tick.
I would contest that. I think the idea of a global, decentralized, trustless peer-to-peer payment system is definitely not being achieved, but we are seeing some emerging use cases.
Yeah, I mean, it's not fully adopted, but would you have said that Google in its second year is doing what it said it was going to do? Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it had.
But it wasn't the
search.
scale that it is now. You know what I mean? Like.
I do.
Yeah.
I think you're right. In like Western markets, the idea of Bitcoin is, I guess, like, it's academic in some senses, and there's a lot of price speculation, but we are seeing some pretty clear use cases in developing markets, as you said. Remittance is a big one. I think it's sort of first cab off the rank. Much easier to send money back to your home country using Bitcoin, and much cheaper, as well as easier than using like TransferWise or MoneyGram or bank-to-bank transfers or anything like that. There was a recent story, and I know we're not going to talk about price, but I have to mention the price for this to make sense.
No price.
The price of a Bitcoin in Turkey is ticked over $100,000, and that's just because the demand for it, as the lira is being devalued, and because of all the economic struggles going on there, the people are moving their money into Bitcoin. So that's more of a store of value argument,
yeah.
But we are seeing some green shoots, I guess, in terms of meaningful use cases as opposed to just price speculation in Bitcoin. So early days, wouldn't give it a tick yet.
You've got a half tick.
But we'll give it a cross.
So we've got a half tick. Let's move on to Ethereum, Ren. Smart contracts.
Smart contracts. Well, a lot of people have probably heard about non-fungible tokens. Jack Dorsey sold a tweet for $2.9 million, a GIF of a cat shooting a rainbow.
With a hat on. Doesn't it have a hat on?
Sold for $600,000. The technology allowing this to happen is Ethereum.
Yeah.
And look, we laugh about NFTs, and it is a pretty ridiculous world in which we're in, but underneath gifts being sold for $600,000 and tweets being sold for $3 million, the technology is starting to be used. I mean, look, this is more theoretical than anything, but in terms of what the use case could be, right now, how we interact with contracts, it all relies on centralized databases. You rent a property, you sign up to a mobile plan, you get insurance, you admit yourself to hospital, you fill out these contracts, and they're stored in a database. And Ethereum basically is trying to, well, in theory, can decentralize that and can sort of have like automatic triggering events when things happen. Insurance contracts could automatically trigger if a natural disaster happens and stuff like that. I'm not going to say that we're seeing that use case play out now. I think we're very much in the let's test this technology in new and novel ways and create gifts and see how much we can sell them for phase. But I think longer term, it's obviously got potential. It's massive. But don't give it a tick.
Half tick. I'm also not deep enough in Ethereum to fully know.
Ethereum kind of does my head in when I try and understand.
It's quite complex. But look, let's move on. Golem Ren.
I've picked 3 more here that are quite simple to understand, that I think the use cases can help people conceptualize where crypto could be used. So Golem, its vision is a worldwide supercomputer. And basically, if we want computing power now, if we're running a quant strategy, if whatever we're doing, we need to buy that computing power. And basically what Golem is trying to do is say, well, there's all this excess computing power in the world. So rather than us buying more servers, buying more computing power, let's find people with unused computing power and give them a way to sell that to people that want more computing power. And the Golem token is a way for people who want that computing power to pay for it, and then people who are offering up that excess capacity, that excess computing power, they can get paid in the Golem token. Which for me, it's an interesting one. It's like the Airbnb of supercomputers.
So is this a tick then?
Well, no, this is all theoretical.
Oh, so there's no actual use case for this.
It is very much like it's being trialed, but I don't think you can give it a tick.
Yeah, right. So we'll give that
a tick for me is when
we'll give that a question mark. I don't think anything's going to give you a tick.
A tick for me is when like an industry is disrupted on the back of it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be ticking anything for
not
a while.
Not today.
Not for a while. Very high standards over here. And then CRN, which is very similar to Golem, but instead of computing power, it's computer storage. So you've got cloud computing, you've got hard drive space, and assuming that just like Golem, if you have spare space, you can trade tokens or buy additional space if you have the SIA token.
Yeah, so in the same way, so if you think about cloud computing now and cloud storage, you've got Microsoft Azure, you've got AWS from Amazon, you've got Google Cloud, you've got all these big companies that centrally own this storage space that you then buy from this central authority. In theory, what SIA is meant to do is decentralize that. And so if you've got excess storage space, you're a business, you're data center, you're just a normal computer user, you're connected to the internet, you have excess storage space, rather than not being able to monetize that, you can then offer that to me if I need excess storage space, and rather than going to Amazon or Microsoft or Google to buy that cloud storage, I can buy it from you in SIA tokens.
Yeah.
So again, I guess an Airbnb model of decentralizing something that is valuable and that people want to buy and sell. So that's a use case that I think is relatively clean to understand. Definitely doesn't get a tick from me.
No tick.
But it's an interesting one.
And do you want to close out very quickly with the...
Do you remember it?
Yeah, it's called something attention, direct attention.
Yeah. Basic attention token.
Basic attention token.
This one was made by the one of the co-founders of Mozilla and Firefox. And basically, our attention is valuable. We all know that, Facebook, Google, everyone is... we're in the content business here at AusBiz, on the podcast at Equity Mates. People's attention is valuable, but people don't get paid for giving their attention. And the basic attention token, in theory, works with a specific browser, Brave, to pay users for their attention. So we opt in to consume ads, and in return, we get some of that, the value that's created by us consuming ads, we get some of that value through the basic attention token. So the advertisers essentially pay us to watch their ads.
Jeez, well, as media moguls, I'm not sure how I feel about that one.
Oh, don't worry. Content creators still get paid.
Okay,
as well.
good. But look, we'll have to leave it there for today. Always fun chatting about crypto. It is a very new space, I guess, for a lot of us here, particularly when we're grounded in equities. But look, it is crypto week at Equity Mates, as we said, so we thought we'd kick off the week. But Ren, we will be continuing with an equities focus here on AusBiz for the remainder of the week, starting with Barrett tomorrow.
Yeah. We've got Alex Barrett from Stake joining us to talk about the latest from Cathie Wood. We've got Watchlist Wednesday, where we'll be talking about infrastructure.
Yeah.
And then we close it all out on Thursday with talking about some of the challenges that new investors face. So stick around this week on AusBiz and join us over on the podcast if you want more crypto content. But that's it from us today. So see you same time, same place tomorrow.
See you later.